Hello, everyone. Welcome back. I am Christine Dixon of The Ordinary Sacred, and I'm happy you're here. If you have followed the last couple videos, we've been talking about identifying cultural burdens in preparation for a workshop that I'm going to lead this coming Friday, August 9th, from 1 to 3 p.m. Central Time, and an additional hour of optional Q&A that you can stay for as well. I'll put the link to that in the description below. So if you want to sign up, you can do that. If you happen to be watching this after it's happened, I'll go ahead and put something on my website so that you can get the replay if you'd like. We're going to talk about identifying cultural burdens and and how to kind of return from the culture, from the conditioning to our own inner wisdom, our own inner guidance, authenticity, and how to unburden some of those big things that were passed down to us from our culture, from our parents, sometimes legacy burdens, sometimes personal burdens. It all gets kind of mixed together in there. And in the last two videos, we talked about family uh, burdens, yes. And we talked about burdens around education. And today we're going to talk about and explore burdens that we've taken on around religion and or science. So, it just depends what kind of paradigm you grew up in. And this is probably going to be related to your family, because they are the most significant, influential people when we're young. But it could also be the culture around you. Maybe your parents didn't espouse to the religion of the culture, but you still got some messaging from the culture, whatever the dominant religion was. Maybe there were messages of fear around other belief systems or religions. And again, maybe you grew up atheist, agnostic, maybe that your religion was kind of science. That's why I put that in there as well, because science can, in many ways, act like a religion for many people. So it's really about the systems of belief and what's right and wrong, how things should be done, the morals, I guess. It can be around spirituality, it can be around rules. So all kinds of things that we get around this topic. And it's going to be different for each one of us. So just like in the last videos, what I want to do is lead you through a very practical exercise to listen inside to your parts, to really your subconscious. What you're doing is you're asking your thinking, figured out parts if they'll just relax and give you space to receive from your other parts. So it feels like there's just someone in front of you who is telling you something, showing you something, and it can be in all kinds of different ways. So like in the last two videos, the way that we do this is what I call the white room exercise. So I'm just going to go ahead and guide you through it. And at a certain point, I'll let you know you can pause and you can really receive from your parts. And then when we come back, I'll tell you what came up for me. Okay, so the topic this time is religion and or science or whatever belief system that you kind of absorbed or inherited growing up. Okay, so first I want to invite you to take a breath, if that feels okay with you, and just feel your body in this space. And what we're doing is, and sometimes you can look around you first to tell your body that you're safe or to check if you are. And hopefully you are. And if you're not, I invite you to do whatever you need to do to protect your privacy, your safety. And if you do feel safe, you might close your eyes or just have a soft gaze. And we're really trying to support our body, our physical body to feeling safe. So we might notice how our body is supported by the chair, by the earth, the gravity that pulls us down. I like to feel Gravity pulling on my shoulders and on my jaw. This really helps my body feel a little bit more relaxed. Sometimes you can extend your exhale. That's a signal to the body that you're safe. Kind of like a sigh. And if you're feeling relatively calm and relaxed, I invite you to just imagine that you are in a completely white room. So the floor, the four walls around you, the ceiling has all been painted white. And this is a bright, well-lit room, and it's completely white. And the temperature is a nice temperature. It feels very safe, very calm. And as you kind of situate yourself just sitting in this room, it's completely white. You might invite your parts, your subconscious, to just show you whatever it wants you to know about the messages, the expectations that or experiences around this topic of religion or science, whatever makes more sense for you. And in this part of the exercise, you don't have to make anything up. There's nothing right or wrong. You can sit in the nothingness and nothing is fine. So you're just waiting to receive. And sometimes it might be like cars that are going by on the freeway, or just images, objects, memories, words, sounds, sensations that are kind of passing by in front of you. And you're just taking them in non-judgmentally. Aha, interesting, might be the response. And that, okay, anything else? And so I'm going to invite you, if you're doing this exercise with me, to perhaps pause and take as long as you need to let your system show you whatever it wants you to know about what you received around the topic of religion or science. If you are returning now and you have received from your parts, you can, of course, write down as things come. I like to write it down as it's coming, or you might just wait and write it down at the end, just to have some trailheads. And you might thank your parts, thank your system for whatever they were willing to show you. It's always important, always significant, whatever they showed you. And whenever you're ready, if you haven't yet, you can just, again, feel your body in this space where your feet are touching the ground, where you're connected to the chair or the bed or the floor, wherever you are. Notice your breath. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes, adjust to the light, to the air, to the space you're in. And I'm going to go ahead and share with you what came up for me. Now, it's going to be very different for all of us. We've all had a very different combination, mosaic, if you will, of input in our lives. And it was really interesting what came to me. I actually did this the other night. It's fascinating. I didn't have a paper to write anything down. And today, before I made this video, I remembered everything. It was very vivid what was shown to me. Um, so the first thing that was shown to me was kind of like this little tour of the house that I grew up in. And it was like showing me all of these little posters and plaques and different things that had Bible verses on them. And what I sensed was the message that wanted to be conveyed was that religion permeated the house, that it was so ever present that it was really like the air that I breathed. It was such an intricate part of everyday life, every second for my parents and thus for me and for my family. So I saw kind of in big letters, religion was everything in all caps. And then it started showing me kind of these memories and images of my mom spanking my sister and I, and she would spank us with this ping pong paddle that had in permanent marker, she had written the verse, spare the rod, spoil the child. So the punishment that I was given was very much attached to the religion. This is God ordained. This is what scripture, the Holy Scripture says. And my mom also showed me all of these instances of my mom quoting verses, um, just quoting over and over, be anxious for nothing. It's never okay to be angry. It does not achieve the righteousness of God. Is it pure, peaceful, and open to reason? Like she would just, it kind of just showed me her saying verses. It showed me waking up and seeing my mom um, reading her Bible, praying, that religion was everything to my mom. And then what's interesting is my dad was a pastor, but my mom, my sister was showing me, was the very religious one. My dad was more intellectual. I saw him, in the pulpit preaching. I saw him uh, making notes to write his sermons. I also felt there was a feeling that he had a lot of stress around it, around performing as a pastor. Um, that seemed to be the message that was coming to me. And then I started seeing all these memories and images of the people in the church kind of this infighting, fighting over what songs to be sung, what color the carpet should be, fighting over theological issues like end times and evolution and all of these different things. Kind of arguing disagreements. Oh, and then I saw these images when I was a kid of movies that created a lot of fear for me. There was one about the rapture, about, you know, no, not good. No, not good. I guess if if you're raptured, it would feel like that. But in these movies, it was really based in fear, right? It was kind of like this person was partying and they didn't have their life together. Oh, this was one where then they died in a car accident and they went to hell. And it was just torment, right? So that was definitely a fear one. But the rapture one was, someone who hadn't gotten their life together and all their loved ones are being taken up into the sky and they're left all alone. And, the person driving the car has gone up and then they're in this car that has no driver now. And, just things like that. There was also an image that came to me of being in youth group and just a lot of fear around partying, alcohol, drugs, sex, like beware, this is very, very dangerous. And if you do these things, you're going to hell, that kind of thing. Um, the there were words and kind of auditory things that came to me that were clear messages like you're sinful, you're bad at your core, your heart is deceitful. Some verses like be anxious for nothing, do not show anger, put others above yourself, this message of self-sacrifice, and then some images about how women were considered secondary, that they could not be in ultimate leadership. They could not teach men. They must be submissive. They're not as intelligent. They are second to men, was the message I was getting that a religion passed down to me. And then it was fascinating because, eh, with culture and with legacy, we can have burdens and we can also have gifts, right? It's not necessarily that everything is bad. And so it was like my subconscious, there these parts wanted to show me the good things too. So I saw just kind of a big array of things that were basically around food, fun, and fellowship. Um, potlucks we used to have where everybody would bring food and we would just hang out and talk. Um, uh, Playing the guitar, singing together, laughter. It showed me in youth group going and playing volleyball, going to the beach, going to the mountains to camp, and just really loving that, right? Anything that had to do with uh, getting together and just laughing and playing together, um, and being in nature, eating good food, which are still the things that are the most life-giving to me. So what's fascinating is I often said this when I began deconstructing the religious theology and doctrines that I inherited. It was felt so sad to have to give up the good aspects, the fellowship aspects, right? The which is maybe a religious word for community, right? To have people to interact with and have fun with and enjoy their company. And so for a lot of people that come out of and deconstruct their religious cultural beliefs, um, there's this aspect of acknowledging the good things and finding them somewhere else, maybe with a group of people that are more like-minded, have similar values, um, or in different ways. So, yeah, wanted to show me the good and the bad. And so, as we'll learn in the workshop on Friday, identifying our cultural burdens, our legacy burdens, things that are passed down to us, there really is this awareness of it and then a very conscious, present choice around, do I want to keep this or do I want to let it go? Right? So it's not that we identify everything and we get rid of everything. It's a real evaluation, very self-led, right? Of I am the authority. Which of these things are in alignment with my values and my value and the value of other people? And if I feel like it's not in alignment with who I am, my authenticity, with my own value, right? For example, that belief that I am bad at my core, I deserve hell, I can't trust myself. To me, that was not in alignment with valuing myself, which I had found was the most important thing for healing and healthy living. It was really valuing the person in my own body, right? And then likewise, valuing other people when there's a message of us versus them and they're scary and they're bad and they're the enemy, it doesn't value other people, right? So that's not in alignment with my values. But there can be other things that are just specific to me, right? That are, um, I have a personality that is caretaking and self-sacrificing and veers toward codependence. So this idea of consider others as better than yourselves, which is a verse in the Bible, I had to reject and say, no, that's not healthy for me because my bent has always been to self-deprecate, self-loathe, put myself down, sacrifice myself for other people. So that being reiterated, put others above yourself, was not what I needed. I needed more messages of consider yourself as equal to other people, as worthy, as valuable to other people, not above other people, not considering them above me, not considering me above them, but considering us as equal. That's what produces good fruit for me. That's what is life-giving for me. Um, yeah, and there can be all kinds of things for you that are very, very different. You might have grown up in a different religion. You might have grown up with very different beliefs, very different, there can be even opposite, type messages. It's just about you personally evaluating each thing. And in the workshop, we'll also explore how our bodies respond. Not just what we think about things, which is where a lot of our cultural burdening and conditioning is, but how does our body respond to a certain belief or a certain practice? So I'd love for you to join me Friday if you're able to. I'll put that in the section below. But if you're not able to, that's okay too. I'm really happy that you are doing this exercise with me. And I'd love to hear what comes up for you if you did it. And you can share it in the comments below, or if you have any questions, you can share that too.